Yeah, right, exactly. And yeah, yeah, I'm trying to think of an analogous situation here in the States. I'm not sure if I can come up with one, but yeah, if you never want to see anything die off like that. And so just if for nothing else, if the for the historical preservation, if for no other reason, and there are more reasons, but if for nothing else, the historical preservation would be worth it to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of the, of course, Irish immigrants would have also spoken Irish as well. Um, I read somewhere that Billy the Kid could have spoken at least kind of four or five languages, and
Wow,
Irish,
wow,
Irish definitely being amongst them anyway.
wow.
I suppose that that probably just ended fairly fairly soon. I'm not sure about Irish speaking populations there, but and it's also quite rare in Ireland as well
Yeah,
for people to speak Irish.
and that's obviously a loaded subject as well. And I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but yeah, that's definitely a
You can ask about loaded subjects. It's
it,
fine.
it, well, no,
It's
I
all
just
good. So so it'd be better. But
I know, especially over on the island of Ireland, that's a loaded subject on either side of the border. And yeah, in the states, from an immigration standpoint, if and I'm pulling files from my history courses as well. So but it seems that there were enclaves, if you will, of immigrant communities. I think the Italian American communities, and especially the Russian American communities, and the Chinese for certain, have been able to maintain their dual communication standpoint. The ones that were in waves in the 1800s, I think, are much smaller, and I would put the Irish and the Germans under that category. I think you can still find some German enclaves, but they're not nearly as
sure.
populous as the other two. So. Um, well, tell me about this. Tell me about how long you've been working on your YouTube channel, and tell me how people can find you, and what the naming of it is, and all of that.
Okay, so my YouTube channel is called Mikail Shaikh. Learn your first second language. I've not been doing it for a huge amount of time. This, I guess, the start of this kind of school academic year. So I think my first video maybe went up in late September or early October. Um, I like to think that because I mean prior to this I had been learning how to learn another language. So um, I think I've got quite a bit of expertise as to how not to learn a language, and that that can be quite valuable.
No doubt,
Um,
no doubt.
but um, but no, I think also really from looking at successful language learners, and also I think having more success in the last few months with languages than I have had in the last kind of 3 or 4 years that I have been studying them. It shows that there really are methods out there which are very effective, which can be done when you have an otherwise busy schedule, which can be a lot more fulfilling, a lot more enjoyable than people typically assume, that certainly do not require any kind of special talent, whatever that means. Um, that is certainly something that I do not possess in abundance at all. And I mean, for lots of reasons, really, I want people to learn more languages
Sure.
for their own sake, for connecting with others, because I think a lack of knowledge and understanding of languages is also something that holds back knowledge with things that we don't really think of. Things like history, for example, I've spoken about that. Just simple misunderstandings with how language works and how ideas are translated. And also, I know a lot of people who, quite frankly, I just want them to do something useful with their lives. Like if they don't learn another language, they could learn something. They could learn more interesting things in their own native one.
Sure.
But it's one form of self improvement, I feel.
Exactly. Exactly, especially as you said in a lockdown scenario. Um,
Definitely.
and so, well, what I'll do is I will when we upload this conversation, I will link to one of your recent videos in the description box so people can find you and subscribe. I encourage everyone
Thank
who
you.
hears this to subscribe and to activate the notifications, because honestly, my perspective is the more the merrier, and the more um, as the saying goes, iron can sharpen iron, and everyone in this community seems to be wanting everyone to improve, and
Oh,
and
definitely.
and and it's a very positive environment. So it's something that I appreciate in that regard. Um, so Mikhail, tell us anything else you want to tell us about language learning or anything like that before we sign off.
In a nutshell, what I would say is that if you are considering learning a new language, or you just think it would be a nice idea, all you need to do before planning any routine itinerary schedule or anything like that, go out there, listen loads. Doesn't matter whether you can understand it or not, but incorporate a shed load of listening into your life. Then plan for, well, integrate some study time into your day. Consistency is the most important thing, and you'll get there. It's nothing to do with talent, age. It's really to do with how consistently you do it, how frequently you do it, and do you do you enjoy it?
Excellent.
So go out there and
Excellent.
listen.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if you're watching this again, subscribe to Mikhail's channel, your first, second language, and we'll link to that in the description box. And thank you all for watching, and have a great day.
Take care, everyone.